Welcome everybody. Welcome everybody. This is a news flash day. Um, I got this prepared late last night, and I wanted to do a news flash because I'm doing kind of like in the news as they comes and things that you need to be aware of. And something very important came across yesterday. I want to talk about that and go over it, as well as concerns Joe Biden's UN speech as well today, which is probably going on right now. I may report after this after I listen to him. So you'll listen to this throughout the day. It's a recording, and so we're going to go ahead and get started here because we're going to be talking about Newsflash: UN Summit for the Future, September 23rd, 24. That was voted on the other day on September 20th, I think 22nd or 23rd, 2024. So what in the world is this? What is this UN thing that happened? What do you call it? It is the UN. Um, what happened to my news? Okay, I had something set up. Yes, there it is. It is the United States, wait a minute. Press release: United Nations adopts groundbreaking pact for the future to transform global governance. And that's the UN Sustainable Goal. I'm reading from their website, the UN website, un.org, right now, right off my phone. And it says September 22nd, 2024, the world leaders today adopted a pact for the future that includes global digital compact and a declaration of future generations. This pact is the culmination of an inclusive years-long process to adopt international cooperation to the realities of today and the challenges of tomorrow, the most wide-ranging international agreement in many years, covering entirely new areas as well as issues in which agreement has not been possible in decades. The pact's aim, above all, to ensure that international institutions can deliver the face of the world that has changed dramatically since they were created. As the Secretary General says, we cannot create a future fit for our grandchildren with a system built by our grandparents. Overall, the agreement of the pact is a strong statement of countries' commitments to the United Nations, the international system, and international law. Its leaders out, set out a clear vision of international systems that can deliver on its promises. I want to stop right there. That's what this thing is about. In fact, it's exceedingly dangerous what they're doing, and you need to know about it because this is some serious stuff. So I'm going to go on here. It's the United Nations. It's called the Summit of the Future. And it says down here, what is the Pact of the Future? The Summit of the Future on September 2024 will produce an intergovernmentally negotiated action oriented pact for the future. Sustainable development and financing for the development, international peace and security. That's interesting. So, what is the Pact of the Future? Okay, here it is. I got it full down here so you can read the whole thing. Involves sustainable development and financing for development, international peace and security. I find that kind of ironic because in the Bible they say peace and safety, but when you look up the Greek word that's translated safety, it's also translated as security as well. That's a shade of meaning of it. So security and safety go ahead, and peace, world peace, are, it's not wholeness and soundness in the sense of what the Lord's talking about, but this is their idea of wholeness and soundness and their idea of security. It's really not ours. Trust me. Trust me on that. It says science, technology, and the innovation of digital cooperation, youth and future generations, and transforming global governments. That should send chills down your spine because, as I stated the other day about the topic we spoke about, we are approaching a time point in our history where we are headed toward a global governance. It is happening right before our eyes, and it is an amazing thing to see when you look at all the stuff that's going on in the world. We are going right toward it, and it's an amazing thing. And I'm looking up a note here, and let's see. This goes along with what I said yesterday about Pope Francis. What happened? Okay, hide. Oh, like Pope Francis, I lost my slide for Pope Francis. I'm going to bring it up. How Pope Francis is rejected the gospel. Now we have the UN talking about uh, science, technology, innovation, digital cooperation, sustainable development, transforming of global governments. And the summit will also produce global digital compact and the declaration of future generations. This draft pact under negotiation has a potential to promote multi systems, multilateral systems that reflects the reality of today and delivers for everyone everywhere. Okay, so you have member states. So you have, I don't know how many member states voted on this. Was last I heard was around 120. This is a non-binding agreement, so it has to go through their governments and be approved. United States and the Biden administration is thoroughly involved in this debacle. They are. And so I'm going to go some notes here. I'm going to, on September 17th, actually, Republican House Representative Bob Good spoke on September 17th, 2024, during a press conference, and let me quote loosely from his own words. He says that this is the most important issue that's getting the least amount of attention relative to its importance in our country. Like many other issues, we're going to be deciding on in November what kind of country we're going to be. He went on to say that this applies to the HWO future impact on what could happen to America. The last few days, the UN held its summit for the future for a governmentally negotiated action pact about transforming global government that sets the stage for global governments to a non-binding agreement to be agreed on later by treaty. I'm just paraphrasing sort of the things that he said, that Mr. Good said, Representative Good said. UN's WHO is seeking expanding and acquiring more powerful authority through this pact, okay? And right now they have it. The Biden-Harris administration intends to support and make the U.S. compliant of the U.S. to the UN, and it's ironic that Joe Biden will be speaking today at the UN, probably as I am talking right now. And folks, so I'm going to quote Mr. Good a little bit here from a video. I hope I can put it in the description. I may not have. It says they are aligned with the international globalists that hate America, that hate our Constitution, that hate our founders, that hate our founding Judeo-Christian principles, and they want America to become like the rest of the world. They don't want us to be subordinate to or governed by our own Constitution. No, they want America to be subordinate and governed by the UN, including the World Health Organization. End quote. His words, not mine. So Mr. Good goes on and tells us how the UN summit was passed. Its member states pass additional powers will go to the UN Secretary General. This revolutionizes the UN from an international cooperative body to an international governing body, basically a one world government. These powers would be triggered. These powers would trigger so-called global. How did he say it? I'm trying to remember. Okay, these powers to control the world will be triggered by global emergencies, whether it be the climate emergency or a health emergency, a cyber emergency, a gun violence emergency, anywhere in the world that a member state may find itself. Okay, and it's basically it's a financial emergency. It could trigger it, and whatever they deem appropriate to monitor for hate speech and disinformation as they define it, not as what it is. The Biden-Harris administration is in full agreement with to place the U.S. under UN authority because they can get around our Constitution and take our rights away from us as citizens of the United States. Okay, and we have no say in the matter whatsoever. Totalitarians love this. To live under the UN International Health Regulation, it also would involve, as Mr. Good said, the surveillance of U.S. citizens and censoring of dissenting views against the narrative. And Grassley said, and I quote, "We as Americans in our own countries didn't vote for any of this. And so we as Americans in our own country did not vote for any of this, nor support it, nor any of it. We have a responsibility to expose this and reject this. America must all, okay. Okay, so why is it so important? Because under this new treaty, if it's enacted by these emergencies and signed into law by the Senate with a 61 vote, becomes treaty, law of the land, America must have to fall under the total agreement with the UN and the WHO. And it's getting, this subject has got the least amount of attention and relative to its importance. Its impact on our country and the world will be devastating. This is what you call a spiritual fascism, and communist totalitarian rule worldwide is on our doorsteps. That's what this pact is all about. And it goes on, it says the future in internet government, okay, sustainable development, international peace and security. When they say peace and security or safety, look up for sudden destruction comes. Science, technology, and digital cooperation, transforming global governance. So there you got it. So what do they mean by sustainability? I put this program of action that adopted at the International Conference of Population Development, Cairo, 5th, 13th September 1994, gives you the UN definition of what sustainability is, okay? What they're talking about. Consistent with Agenda 21, the objectives are to ensure that population, environmental, and poverty eradication factors are integrated in sustainable development policies, plans, and programs, to reduce both the unsustainable consumption and production patterns as well as negative impacts of demographic factors on the environment in order to meet the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Government at the appropriate level with the support of international community and regional and sub-government organizations, talking about the UN here. So what does sustainability mean when they talk about sustainability? Is it really about sustainability factors, solving the climate crisis? Is it really about that? Let's look. To ensure that population, environmental, poverty eradication. Let's just change it around to ensure that population eradication, environmental eradication, and poverty eradication factors are integrated in sustainable development policies and programs. I can't change the words of their own document. Interpret that how you will. It's talking about eradicating population to eradicate poverty and to eradicate climate issues. This involves eradicating population without the population knowing that that's what's behind the sustainable development thing. So this global governance thing that just happened with a non-binding agreement that could go to the Senate, and if it passes, we are toast. At least 100 or whatever nations that sign it, you have come under what the Bible is warning about. We're on the launching pad. We're very close to it. If it doesn't pass, what a non-binding UN agreement does, it allows wiggle room so you can take care of the issues that come up. There's all kinds of issues come up, so what they do is they problem solve. So they do a non-binding agreement, and governments loosely agree to it and try to implement it, and they reach problems that um, the serfs don't like it. So they'll figure out a way to get the serfs in line, and they'll figure out ways. Well, this is not going to work because if we get rid of farmland, people will starve. And we got a solution. We'll have bug factories to make bugs. We'll feed them bugs. And things like that. They'll have everything ducks lined up in the row for the final thing, just like they did in the program of action to define what sustainability is really about. Don't be deceived. The same language in that program of action is in this agreement here, and I'm going to go to it shortly here, but this is what it's about. Okay, let's go to this thing. This is Forbes, the new UN Global Digital Compact, what it is and why we matter. Okay. All right. It says, okay. This month, the United Nations General Assembly is taking place in New York, and the need for global framework that promise responsible, inclusive, and sustainable digital governments has never been more urgent. Building on the UN high-level report on governing AI for humanity that was released last week, today the UN General Assembly finally adopted the Global Digital Compact, and it's an ambitious effort, and we are just getting started. So I put on a little blue marker. I can't read everything because I'm talking about the copyright. I'm quoting under the copyright section 107 of the Copyright Act of 76, which allows me to do this in part. So let's just go back to this here. Oops. Says, where I have this little blue line, says the core of the global digital compact is to ensure that digital revolution benefits humanity while safeguarding universal human rights and promoting equitable growth. The big challenge of in the coming months and the decades will be to translate the principles of the Global Digital Combat Pact into practice. This is where the practical implementation framework for pro-social AI comes into play. The task is humongous, but we do de facto we can move from theory to action, creating a blueprint for a more just hybrid world, a just hybrid world. A brief overview of the Global Digital Compact and pro-social AI. So what is the Digital Compact? The Global Digital Compact is a UN initiative designed to lay down a set of shared principles and guidelines for how digital technology should be governed globally. Its focus ranges from securing human rights in digital space and ensuring responsible use of emerging technologies such as AI. The, the, the Global Digital Compact outlines several core principles, objectives, and actions aimed at shaping digital governments for sustainable development. So basically, what this is saying, we're going to implement these policies to produce sustainable development, as I said before, to initiate humanity into this mindset of a perfect, loving, kind world, okay, that they have envisioned for us of sustainable development, where you eradicate environment and poverty problems by eradicating the population. And so they don't want to come right out and tell you that. No, they have these things. Let's just go to the next page. Um, I can't. I'm not going to read all of them. It says universal connectivity. In other words, access to the internet is seen as a fundamental human right. Back in 2009, the Rockefeller Foundation uh, talked about the global south and getting a surveillance and access to the internet there. So this is nothing new. All kinds of players are in this. And the 2010 report on scenario planning for the future that the Rockefeller did, and I spoke on it before, lays out the blueprint, what we're witnessing today. We're in the hack attack chapter of criminality and getting into stealing your information so you'll surrender your rights over, and creating and releasing criminals and chaos on the streets. Basically what it's about. We're right there. They have this planned. Okay. Human rights online, a commitment to safeguarding fundamental human rights in the digital space, including privacy, freedom of speech, and data security. Don't be fooled. It's not about freedom of speech. It's freedom to speak what they want you to speak. You'll see this in as you go through this article. I'm not kidding you. You'll find out shortly what I mean. And it comes down to safe and secure digital environment. The digital world should be safe for all, addressing the rising threats of cybercrime, misinformation, privacy violations. The Global Digital Compact underscores the need for international cooperation to create and enforce regulations that promote safety online. If it's about free speech, these people are dead set. You got proof in the headlines. They want to silence uh, Elon Musk, a former Twitter called X account. And anybody who speaks about freedom of speech and what it really is, and exchange of ideas and open debate, is silenced by international governing committee in the UN saying you have to comply or we cut you off. We put the button on and you're gone, or we take it over. And that is not free speech. It's only you can only speak how they define what free speech is, which is getting rid of conservatives, bumping off people, and stuff like that, who they disagree with, getting rid of reactionary people, according to the Theosophists who helped set, Alice and Foster Bailey were instrumental in setting up the UN Charter, which I'll go over in a little bit here, about what right human relationships are. So, digital innovation for sustainable development. Okay. It should serve as a force for environmental sustainability, economic growth, and social inclusion. All that word inclusion. Fostering trust in technology. Oh, yeah. You're going to have to trust the AI to monitor you and track you and surveil you. Get a mark, and you can't buy, sell, or eat. Man, it sounds like a wonderful world. Wouldn't you like to live in your 15-minute city? Here, have a bug sandwich. Okay. Objectives and actions of the Global Digital Compact. The Global Digital Compact just doesn't stop at principles. It offers clear objectives and actionable steps to bring the vision to life. Digital infrastructure development. Countries must work collaboratorily to build a robust digital infrastructure, particularly in underdeveloped regions. The compact poses investing in 5G networks, digital literacy programs, and public-private partnerships to make connectivity international. AI and emerging technical governance. Establish global regulatory framework that guides AI ethical development and use, ensuring that these technologies do not reinforce existing inequalities or create new forms of harm. Wow. As they define them, not as truth or reality defines them. And it sounds great. We're going to stop all these people who are bad mouth. We're going to teach you right human relations through this. This is what it's about. Data sovereignty and privacy. To ensure that data privacy rights are respected globally, countries must protect citizens' digital footprints, enable them to have control over their data through regulatory safeguards by the criminals, by the world's elites. Get a mark. That's what it leads to. Can't buy or sell or eat. Yeah, that's where it's going. Combating digital misinformation. Boy, I love this one. Governments and tech companies must work together to combat misinformation, hate speech, and cybercrime through regulations, transparency mandates, and real-time monitoring systems. So they want to create an AI system to do this globally under their auspices. And they're all for free speech, but they're about, wow. And it's their definitions of it. And their definitions of this stuff are not what you think. Just like the program of actions we're doing is all in love and we're going to produce a more inclusive world where everybody loves each other, everybody gets along, and we're going to force it upon you, and we're going to make you compliant. We're going to implant things into your body to make you a new humanity 2.0 so you can't rebel, so forth, etc. They got this all planned out, folks. Sustainable technology practices. In other words, they're going to monitor all the all the farming and how much CO2 is being produced and say, you can't grow your food. These people are very stupid. And stupid people make stupid laws. And they think they're on their arrogant high horse. And they don't realize that when maybe they do actually. Maybe they do when they talk about sustainability. Maybe they understand exactly what they are doing. After all, if you get rid of farmland and prevent people to grow food, you produce conditions for famine. And what a wonderful way for sustainable policies to ensure that population, environmental, and poverty eradication factors are integrated in sustainable development policies, programs, in an intergovernmental agency like the United Nations. Just saying. Safety and trust in AI. Pro-social AI focuses on building trustworthy AI systems that are transparent and accountable. My question is, accountable to who? Who? Who are they accountable to? Themselves, not us. They sound like it's us. They're not. But it's their definition of what truth is. It's their definition of relative truth. It's their definition of what misinformation is. Anything that goes contrary to their narratives or the totalitarian state they want to create is misinformation, even if it's absolutely factual, documented, and true. Objective reality stares them at the face. They can just This is a totalitarian's dream come true. Global governance with an AI system like that. This is critical in fostering public confidence in AI technology, directly linking the CDC's, GDC's, Global Digital Compact's objectives of creating a safe digital environment. This framework can provide necessary guardrails to prevent misuse and unintended harm from digital. And it's all about protecting you from harm, from people who might offend you. Well, I'm offended by them. Can I be safeguarded from you? I grew up in a world, folks, it's disappearing. We used to have open debates. Even if you disagree with me, we can still leave as friends or respect each other, and we can have a debate. You can put your views, I put my views, we can argue, we can do whatever, we can walk away. You can't now, because if you have a view that's in contrary to what they want on gender equity or something or whatever, weird things like that, because you don't love, you should accept all this weird stuff and send your children over to the hospitals, to get their lower extremities, so they don't bark like a dog or purr like a kitten, and have them removed so you can help eradicate population, I guess. And so if you disagree with their policies, you're silenced. Does that sound like freedom? I think not. Global collaboration on AI governments, much like the Global Digital Compact calls for international cooperation, pro-social AI requires global partnerships to establish unified standards for ethics in governments. Okay, to translate the Global Digital Compact principles to actionable steps, business, governments, and organizations can focus on the following keys, takeaways to guide, develop, and collaborate. Global Digital Compact means to guide and develop and collaborate. It says the guide for the use of AI, embedding transparent, fair, and inclusive framework into digital projects and services. Wow. To respect human dignity, privacy, and rights. Who can argue with that? Now, if you're talking like, I understand it to be, I would agree with you, but they don't mean that. The sick, the profane, and the people who are entering your country in mass, causing all kinds of chaos, will have more rights than you, because it's all about karmatic justice. Okay? Open border, so forth, like that. I mean, I'm telling you, these people are nuts. Okay, let's go to the next page. Next one is the guide. Guide ethical use of AI by embedding transparent, fair, inclusive framework. D, develop digital infrastructure and literacy programs to create universal access to the benefits of digital technology. Oh, to literacy programs. Remote learning in your schools to make you woke, so you'll go broke, so you're easily controlled. It's about initiating you into a Luciferian mind of, the people who are grasping for absolute total power. They're all about love and unity, and it's really nice. And we're about human rights, we're about human dignity, and so you got to respect the serial killer. You have to expect the criminals released on your street, because they have more rights than you, because they're all about fairness and love is love. Okay? Somebody like me who exposes this, I have a right through free speech to share with you. I would be like that in a heartbeat under this guideline. So let's look further at what they had to say. This is the United Nations Pact for the Future Global Digital Compact, Declarations on Future Generation. This is about a 40 or 50 page document. So I just want to highlight a few of them for you. I downloaded it from the UN. It's a public domain. Pact for the Future says, number one, we as the heads of the state and government representing the peoples of the world have gathered at the United Nations headquarters to protect the needs, interests of the present and future generations through the actions of this pact for the future. We are at a time of profound global transformation. Number three, yes, yet this is also a moment of hope and opportunity. Global transformation is a chance for renewal and progress grounded in our common humanity. Sounds wonderful. Advances in technology, science, knowledge, and innovation could deliver a breakthrough to a better and more sustainable future for all. The choice is ours. Sustainable future for all. Wow. To ensure that population, environmental, and poverty eradication factors integrated into sustainable development policy plans and programs. To reduce both unsustainable consumption production patterns as well as negative impacts on demographic factors on the environment, in order to meet the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Sounds wonderful. Man, it just makes you want to sign right up right there. Number four, we believe that there is a path to a brighter future for all humanity, including those living in poverty and vulnerable situations. Through the actions we take today, we resolve to set ourselves on that path, striving for a world that is safe, peaceful, just, equal, inclusive, and sustainable, and prosperous. A world in which well-being and security and dignity and a healthy planet are assured for all humanity, because we are altruist. We're looking out for your good. Like Noah Harari says, humans are no different than chimpanzees, and basically humanity needs to be culled in order to solve climate problems. To ensure that we can equity distribute everything around, we got to eradicate, because we love you. We have the right ideas. We are the elites who meet in places like Davos, who meet in the Grove and where the redwoods are in California. We meet on islands out there in the Caribbean. We meet in groves, and we dance around and we do strange things because we are the elite. We love you. We are out for your peace and security. Sudden destruction comes. What can I say? We're at the threshold of this, folks. I'm going to just read where I have it, where the blue lines are. We recognize that the multilateral systems and its institutions, with the United Nations and its charter at the center, must be strengthened to keep pace with the changing world. They must be fit for the present and future, effective and capable, prepared for the future, just, democratic, equitable, representative of today's world, as they define it, inclusive, interconnected, and financially stable. Verse 8. We affirm our unwavering commitment to the act in accordance with the international law, including the Charter of the United Nations and its purpose and principles. We also reaffirm that the three pillars of the United Nations, sustainable development, peace and security, and human rights. How come I see four? Sustainable development, peace, security, and human rights. I got it. The three pillar system, I see it. We also affirm that sustainable development, the masculine, and the peace and security, and human rights. Yeah, we can see a fusion there. So let's do it. It's all about peace and love and all that, and security and human rights. Yeah, are equally important, interlinked, and mutually reinforcing. We cannot have one without the others. Wow, this reminds me of something here. I want to go back and look at this on initiation. If you want to achieve the will to achieve power to save the world, you want this power, okay? How are you going to sell it? Through the ray of love and wisdom. And it's just all about love. It's about inclusivity. It's about uh, all about capable, just, democratic, equitable, representative of today's world. Number 6, inclusive, interconnected, and financially stable world. We're doing it all for your best interest because we love you. And then the ray of activity and adaptability is initiating to activate human intelligence to be guided by those in power. This is why I've been teaching on the occult world, because once you see it, you'll see it in the halls of government, saying, after all, the United Nations, not the United Nations charter was helped developed by Allison Foster Bailey through Theosophy. They have a Theosophy meditating room in the UN. I think they still have their library there, at least nearby. They're very involved in this. So there is a Luciferian connection, and you can draw it straight through and connect it to a lot of factors. Let's continue. We recognize that sustainable development in all three dimensions is a central goal in itself, and that is achieved leaving no one behind, and has always be the central objective of multilateralism. We affirm our ending commitment to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development. And the Sustainable Development Goals, we urgently accelerate progress toward achieving the goals, including through concrete political steps, mobilizing significant additional financing from all sources for sustainable development, with special attention to the needs of those in special situations, creating opportunities for young people. Poverty in all its forms and dimension, including extreme poverty, remains the greatest global challenge, and education is indispensable requirement for sustainable development. Oh, let's look at a program of action and how they define it again. Section 3.28. Consistent with Agenda 21, which is now Agenda 2030, okay, to ensure that population, environmental, and poverty eradication factors are integrated into sustainable development policies and programs and actions to reduce both unsustainable consumption and production patterns as well as negative impacts on demographic factors on the environment, in order to meet the needs of current generations without compromising the ability of future generations to meet their own needs. Governments at the appropriate level, with the support of an international community, blah, 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 will enforce this. In all its forms of intervention, we're going to eliminate poverty. Why? Because we are initiating you and bamboozling you with rays of love and superior wisdom to cull the population in order to solve the problems. They are committed to sustainability goals. What can I say? That's what it's about. Poverty in all its forms and dimension, including extreme poverty. It's who doesn't want to solve the poverty problems? Uh, but Jesus said you always have the poor with you, okay? And under a fair and just society, they can be taken care of, okay? But unfortunately, this global government is using people in poverty to cull the population in order to solve the poverty problem. Sick people. So here are the table of contents in this document. It is quite illuminating. Sustainable development and financing for development. It says, Action 1, we take bold, ambitious, accelerate, just, and transformative actions to implement the 2030 agenda to achieve the sustainable development goals and leave no one behind. We place eradication of poverty at the center of our efforts to achieve the 2030 agenda. Wow, amazing, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing, isn't it? To ensure that poverty, environmental, and poverty eradications are integrated into sustainable developmental policies. That is absolutely interesting, isn't it? We'll end hunger and eliminate food insecurity and all forms of malnutrition because they got bug burgers for you. We will close the sustainable developmental goal of financing gap to developing countries. In other words, we'll take from the rich countries and give to you so you comply or you will die. Because we love you. It's all about love, man. We have the will to achieve absolute power, and we're going to bamboozle you by selling love and wisdom and high sounding ideas. We want to create a brave new world, and we're getting these folks are getting their information as what what Ephesians chapter 6 talks about, from the principalities, powers, rulers of darkness, and host of wickedness in heavenly places. That's how the enemy deceives. We ensure the multilateral trading system continues to be the engine of sustainable development. What does that mean? In the scriptures, it talks about it, and we're already there, but they're going to divide the world in 10 separate regions or zones or kingdoms. It's like the book of Daniel says. It's already there. It's on paper, and we are in the North American or South America. I don't know. We're in the American zone, Canada, Mexico, and I think the Central American countries. I can't remember the exact zone we're in, but that's one zone, free, called the Free Trade Agreement. Okay, we're there. Action 7, we will strengthen our efforts to build a peaceful, just, and inclusive societies for sustainable development, provide access to justice for all, and build effective, accountable, inclusive institutions at all levels, and uphold human rights and fundamental freedoms. Right. Okay? Right. It's not what you think about freedom. It's like George Orwell in 1984 said, freedom is slavery, and slavery is freedom. That's how you define that. Okay. When fundamental slaveries, okay, calling it freedom, We will achieve gender equality and empowerment of women and girls at a crucial contribution progress across the sustainable development goals and targets. Now, these are not the rights you're thinking of. They're not talking about the rights. I mean, some of them they are. They will do some good things. So women are not browbeaten down and treated as second-class citizens. And the Bible never teaches to treat a woman as a second-class citizen. You're co-heirs in the joint heir of life, and you work as a team, and you love each other, and you work things out. That's the biblical definition. These people don't. They want. They want. Well, you know, you're doing too much procreating going on, and we're going to have to help you get rid of the viable tissue mass. That's their idea in a nutshell. And that you teach them that they're Artemis and you emasculate the men in your country. Yeah. It's not about actual equality of women and women's rights at all, that women can hold, like it says in Proverbs 31, they can operate a business. They can be CEOs, so forth, etc. in society. Just read Proverbs 31 and how the Lord views what a woman can do. Pretty much what a man can do, but we're created different than each other. I know that's controversial, but we are. And so I'm just saying, it's not about that. It's about viable tissue mass. We will strengthen our action to address climate problems. How? Environmental poverty eradication to ensure that population eradication factors integrated in sustainable development policies and programs. Oh no, don't tell them that. They might not like it. Okay. Action 8, we will achieve gender equality and empowerment. Okay. We will strengthen our actions and address this thing about climate. We will accelerate our efforts to restore, protect, and conserve sustainability use in the environment. Action 13, we will redouble the efforts to build a sustainable, peaceful, inclusive, just societies and address the root problems, the root causes of conflicts. So, everybody would agree with that, but that's not what they mean. So let me show you what they mean from Lucius Trust, and the link is in the description, and it's up there on your screen as well. And it says it says this: we, the peoples of the United Nations, determine to reaffirm faith in the fundamental human rights and the dignity and worth of the human person, in the equal rights of men and women in all nations, large and small. So the state's preamble of the United Nations Charter. But if we are to help transform the conditions of human life and consciousness, it is essential that more thought be given to the deeper spiritual significance of this aim. Transforming human consciousness. If the expressions of human rights depends on establishing of right human relations can only be established by the development of a more inclusive consciousness. The transformation of human life in this planet of pain can only be achieved by transformation of human consciousness. Today, this transformation of humanity is underway. The outline of planetary synthesis based on worldwide interdependence has emerged, but critical. Despite problems face the human family, human rights, through enshrined in many national constitutions, are far from being adequately established or observed. Attitudes, prejudice, greed, fear, suspicion, poison relationships between individuals, groups, and nations, and so forth, etc. Part of that's true. But here in the United States, when this Barack Hussein Obama was voted into, we had the racial issue was disappearing. I know what prejudice looked like. I was a kid growing up in the 60s. I got my, what whopped out of me during that time and had a concussion as well from it. And so, just because of the color of my skin. And so, yeah, they always exist, but they exist in such a few people in the United States. When they did their survey, population survey, they only found about 3,000 actually supremacists in the entire country at that time, and they estimate could be 3 to 6,000 in the current. But that's about it. And then if you're a certain color of skin or you vote a certain way, Republican, you are a racist, and automatically. And so, what does all this mean here? when they're talking about this in here. So human rights, down the last paragraph, through enshrined in many national constitutions, are far from being adequately observed and established. We have a constitution that guarantees our rights, and it's been working. And we got rid of this stuff. We're on the verge of eradicating. And then somebody came on and used critical race theory to pit each other against each other again. Let's look what this says. Are far from being adequately established because basically they want to what? Get rid of your constitution out of your parliamentary system because it's racist. And it's not. Because you're racist, you're greedy, you're suspicious, poison in relations between individuals, groups, and nations by how you think. Your constitution doesn't establish that, so we want to create one for you through this United Nations, through this global digital compact to ensure right human relations. If you don't comply, well, it won't be so good for you, surf. You see the doublespeak going on in this garbage? Right human relations can only be established by the development of more inclusive consciousness. Accept unreality as truth. You can be whatever you want, a tree, a dog, a cat, and you have to honor you and get you a litter box, let you go outside and do your business on the lawn, and teachers have to go up there with the rubber gloves and put it in a doggy bag for you, and maybe, as you want to sit on the grass and wipe it on the ground, so that's okay, but, because it's inclusive. It's all about love. It's all about love. Because we love you. We care about you. Okay, we want this brave and new equitable world. Okay, because we're guided by the hierarchy and at the Groovy Grove and where the redwoods are in California. We go to islands in the Caribbean. We go in secret places all around the world and in houses and do these things because we connect to how to make a better world for you. But it'll be for you, but it's for us really because we have to. There's too much consuming going on. We need to control a well managed humanity 2.0. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be in one of the days when the Son of Man comes, as the book of Luke says. Jesus said in the book of Luke. Science, technology, and innovation and digital cooperation. We will seize the opportunities presented by science, technology, and innovation for the benefit of people and the planet. We will scale up the means of implementation to developing countries to strengthen their science, technology, and innovation capacities. I am Mr. Science. You can't question me. You can't have peer reviews, and you cannot scientifically test our ideas and our political concepts because we have the will to achieve power and we know how to live your life better than you. Because science must agree with what we believe in. Technology must be for our use to control you. I'm being a little facetious here, but that's the idea behind this document. They're not going to say that. They're going to say it's all about love. We're doing this for love, peace, and security. We're doing it for your betterment. We want you all in the third ray of activity. You activate your human intelligence to accept all this, be ruled by the will, those who have the will to achieve a willpower to make a more inclusive and just world. How? Number 5 there, transforming global governance. We will transform global governments and reinvigorate the multilateral system to tackle and challenges, seize opportunities of today and tomorrow. We will reform the Security Council, recognizing the urgent need to make it more representative, inclusive, transparent, efficient, effective, democratic, and accountable. That means we must remove the United States from the Security Council and bring more members in there who will counter and defeat anybody who opposes the global governance. That's what that means. Sort of like, stacking the Supreme Court, we hear so much in the United States here. Do you see where this is going? I close with this. Anthony Lacone summed up all this, and I quote, and I found this on goodreads.com. There is coming a day when freedom will just be an essence of the mind, an inner dwelling that was once physically attainable. They will tell you where you can live and what you can wear and drive, what and how much you can eat, drink, and how to purchase those. They'll strip you of your religion, your race, your gender, your national origin, age, color, creed, views, and power, and have control of the population. They'll set in a new order of the age, and put you in the back of the line, marked and branded. Everything will be erased, and the new will be manipulated, and what you believe most can only be kept secret, for all must fall in line of their government. Anything outside will be abolished. Even death will be sought but restrained. They'll execute complete and total control over everything and be the sole owners of your soul. The lights that once guided you will go dim. Liberty will be like an unwilled bird, suppressed in the cage of your ribs, and your wings or your ability to fly are going to be cut off. They're all about building a sustainable, equitable world. And many of these people in these places where they meet practice some insidious stuff. That's why they're all for the profane and perverse. And they can have lots of victims, I guess. Folks, we've never been closer to seeing Bible prophecy unfold before our eyes. Book of Revelations, chapters 9 through 13 address this. All comes from Revelation chapter 12 about a war in heaven and the devil coming to earth as time is short to stay here and put the Antichrist coming to solidify and make this dream come, and the Antichrist comes to rule through a small group of people. We're seeing it take shape. You meet in the Groovy Grove, who meet in islands in the Caribbean all over the place, and groves and woods and homes and wherever they can practice this stuff. And they're on the stage of making, they're in the first round here of setting this non-binding agreement to get the kinks knocked out so they can prove it so you don't see, maybe improve the language a bit so you don't see where it's heading, and to get you hoodwinked because it's all about love. They have such will to achieve power. Let me bring this up again. They'll trick you with thoughts of love, wisdom, better world, whatever. And they want to build a brave new world from it, that you can be part of it. And they want the human ray of activity, initiation in there to, you can reach this higher universal mindset here. So you fall in line with what they believe that you need to be controlled, tagged, and that you'll receive a mark that's mentioned in Revelation chapter 13. Whoever doesn't, if you must receive a mark to buy, sell, or eat. So you have to, who worships the beast system will have to get a mark. We can't buy, sell, or eat from that. We're on the thresholds of digital currency coming up shortly as well for that purpose. Folks, we're on the threshold of something that the Bible's speaking about. And I think in the book of Revelation, and why people never saw some of this stuff here, because we forgot how the demonic world works through 7 rays of initiation, which can correlate through the 7 root rays. The bottom line stories of what they're talking about is not Hyborians or Polarians or Lumerians. It's about initiation and developing the mind principle. It's about giving certain people the will to achieve power by lying about love and wisdom that is superior somehow, to create a brave new world. It's all for your peace and safety. Sudden destruction comes, The ray of activity involves hoodwinking the entire world to a universal mind of collectivism. Like Lacone says, when freedom will just be an essence of the mind, an inner dwelling that once was physically attainable. Anything outside will be abolished. Everything before will be erased. And the new will be manipulated. And what you believe most can only be kept secret. They'll strip you of your religion, race, gender, national origin, age, color, creed, views, and power, and have control of the population. We are so close to the jumping off point. That means Revelation chapter 2 and 3 will be happening in the church soon. When the Lord tries to get the church, the 5 apostatizing groups of people, to get their act together, but the majority of them will not, but a group of them will get their act together and repent from it so they can overcome by repenting. And 2 don't. One has to overcome through persecution all the way till the end. That's the persecuted church. That's the persecuted church. Will have to endure till the end. And then the other group that doesn't have to repent is the Philadelphian, who have a love for each other, that leave no one behind. Combat veteran, we're tight, we're brothers, we're combat buddies, or whatever. That type of mentality. I had that in the sheriff's department. I don't have it now since I'm gone from it and moved out of there. I don't have that. I don't have that camaraderie I once had. I miss it, where I knew I had somebody had my back, and I had their back too. And so I miss that. And that's the type of church that is. Is your church like that? How do you treat new people? Do you compartmentalize them and you ignore them and so forth, etc.? Do you provide opportunities for them to grow in your church? Things like that. Maybe have fellowship, just simple fellowship with each other, have picnics and develop friendships with each other. Do you have anything like that? The Philadelphians did, and they're promised to the ability to escape the trial that's going to come to all the earth, the test, the tribulation. So that's where we're at. The last day's message will go out. It's the last call. Some people call it an end time revival. I call it the last call because it's more fitting. Repent, turn away from what you're doing and what you believe in, and how you brought the New Age movement in there. What you determine is desirable, permittable in the church that caused you to lose your first love. Yeah, it's desirable, permitted is to test the false prophets, and that you'll commend you in Nicolations. But you left your first love by deciding what is desirable and permittable to everyone else. And you in Pergamum are bringing the occult world from Satan's throne right into the church. And you need to see it to repent from it. The New Age movement, all that. How about you in Thyatira with your um, uh, rule the government through Ahab behind the scenes, like Jezebel, the prophetess, did Ahab? And you are going to take over and join in with the New Age movement's idea of taking over the cultural mountain influence, not to influence it because in a good way, but a negative way, to take it over, to hand it over to the Antichrist when he comes. Oh, I forgot Jesus, but it'll be the Antichrist. You need to forget that doctrine. It's all about getting a mass amount of people saved. That will influence the cultural mountains of influence and change things. Just got it backwards. And there's some truth in that. It's good to have representatives and stuff that represent our ideas, and we need to get them voted in, or we won't have any rights. That part is correct. The rest of it, the militant idea of it, its foundation is from Alice Bailey, Blavatsky, Theosophy, Jane Leeds, and some other crazy people back in the 16 and 1700s. Adam Westphal, for one, so forth. But or you can be like a Sardis. You're the dead church, you're the woke church, you're going all out in the world, you're dead to the things of God. But there are some of you who haven't, and if you don't get it right, your name's blotted out of the book of life. Sorry, Charlie. We'll see you later. You're never a Christian. I don't believe you're ever a Christian. Those who bring the occult world in, they may be Christians. They have a chance to repent and you'll be restored. But some people are there who are doing it deliberately to initiate the church, just like Alice Bailey taught, to change it into a one world religious system. Or you can be like Laodicea, rich in need of nothing, very arrogant. You have a will to achieve power. And you think that your love and your seeker sensitive ways and are far superior, and you really don't need the Bible, and the Bible is not that necessary. You need new eye salve to get the pollution out of your eyes. You know, you're nothing but you're filthy, stinking pond water, polluted water that makes you sick. God will vomit you out of his mouth. And in the Laodicean age of the church, he's knocking on the door of that group of people saying, why don't you let me in? And they say, we don't want you in. Those who do, will open up to them, and we'll meet you up in the sky where we're going, in the sweet by and by, at the appointed time and the appointed hour that's coming. As it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be when the Son of Man comes back in one of his days, plural. As it was in the days of Lot. They ate, drank, and did all these things. And so it will be when the Son of Man comes in one of his days, plural. He's coming back. Think about it. With that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. So if you'd like to contact me or, support what I do, I put all my information on screen. I have 2 books, Land Unknown, Hell's Dominion, and Heaven Beckons. You can support me that way, but if not, that's okay. I don't, and also let you know that people mimic you and try to send you emails and send out phone messages, try to collect money from you. Know that I do not do that. If anyone does, contact me so I can report it to the authorities. With that, you guys be blessed in Jesus' name. Amen. So look at Cobb. I did not know that Joe Biden wrote an article in '92 called "How I Learned to Love the New Order of the Age." If you can send me a link on that through my email, I'd appreciate that, Cobb. Yeah, China and stuff are not going to sign that. They know it. And you're right, pure Mississippi. This election has caused great divide within our country, and people are blind to the tactics and true agenda of the far left, which are initiated people. They are initiated. They don't even know they're coming under the sway of the evil one. They're still maintaining their sensibilities and stuff, but they can't see what's happening. They think they're doing it for the noble good. They think they're doing it for altruistic means. They're deceived. That's why you got to rip the veils off their eye, and through spiritual warfare of Ezekiel chapter 13, verses 17 through 23. So with that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign off and end the stream. And with that, you guys be blessed, and I hope you enjoyed today's topic on the news. I really do, on the news here. The UN Summit for the Future on today show. God bless you all.